All right, guys, welcome aboard to our IFR live show, episode one. So I'm Gamang Kuyardi, and this is Chita Batsy. Both of us were CFIIFA, and we would like to share with you um, the better plan and some scenarios of doing the IFR flight planning. And also, in the next episode, I'm going to fly this flight plan with the online flight simulator. With the basic aviation training device. So it's like the whole cockpit, multi screens, and also supported by the pilot H. So we will use the pilot aids as our main reference. We're using the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, sometimes the P3D. Um, in this scenario, we're gonna fly with the twin engine, the light twin. So let's say we will fly from one point to another point. Now it's around 8 to 9 a.m. in the morning in the California. We believe the real weather is IFR. So let's take this way. Both of us, we have to fly to a place that the weather now um, is under instrument weather. There will be no other chance for us to cancel the flight. We have to fly for emergency situations. So let's put that way. The question is, if we have to fly now in the morning when the marine layer around the coastal area of the Southern California, what will be our consideration? And since we fly the Dutchess, what we have to make a plan on that the light twin. What will be the consideration? That's the main thing, because if you fly instrument, you can fly in any circumstances. Like low visibility, it's fine for you, but there will be some limitations that you really need to concern. Okay, then let's get started. So here, Chinta and she will present what will be our destinations, the route that we're gonna fly, and then we will discuss about the weather, the flight plan, the airplane performance, and so on. All right, so Chinta, you can introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chinta. It's my first time being here with 14 Days Pilot Academy. So it's really nice to see everyone. Now, for our first episode of IFR Live Show, like the name suggests, for this episode and all the episodes going on, we will be taking you guys in a real time flight simulation. So for this time, before we start any other flight, like how everybody here, all the aviators that is watching know, as a pilot in command, it is your responsibility to make sure that you are well aware and well informed of all the pre-flight information. Now for this flight, before we see Mr. Guma actually do the flight on our first episode, we will be all talking about how we plan for this trip. Like he say, let's say in this scenario, there's like we really have to go in this time frame around now. For our flight this time, we are planning to go from Venice Airport all the way to Montgomery Airport. So it's Kilo Victor November Yankee, and we will go to Kilo Mike Yankee, Kilo Mike Victor Yankee, I believe, Montgomery.
Kilo Mike Yankee Foxtrot. That's a
Oh, yeah.
Montgomery, located in San Diego.
Okay, Kilo Mike Yankee Foxtrot. So the whole trip will be around 142 nautical miles, and we will be going with Duchess, and then Mr. Gumay will explain to you how the performance will affect on the time and route that we have to go through. But let's before everything else, let's look at how the weather is right now.
Great. Okay, so number one, let's put yourself into your desktop now. Let's simulate that we are really serious in this flight. We have one shot goal. You have like your family got sick or anything that you have to depart because you bring let's put this way: you bring the vaccine, okay? You bring a vaccine, and this is a Part 91 operation, of course. You have to deliver that vaccine because your uncle or, yeah, your mom or whoever, your family, uh, now is in a hospital, just got a car accident. The only way to make her survive is you bring that vaccine and medicines from Van Nuys. You got a great hospital in LA. Then you have to fly and deliver that medicine. Okay, so this is a part of the external pressure that, the PAVE checklist. If you are as a pilot, you have to fly in any circumstances because the external pressure. You have to really consider whether or not the risk is worth it to take. Okay, so let's take the sky factor. If you have a for flight, I really recommend you to use for flight because for flight is really great nowadays to set up your flight plan, file a flight plan. I believe all of you already use for flight. Okay, or Garmin Pilot also works well. We're using sky factor to make everything easier now. So I put Van Nuys Airport, KMYF for Montgomery. We base in Van Nuys. Van Nuys is just north of Los Angeles. IFR flight. Now, number one is we have to know if we want to fly to San Diego, what is the route that you're gonna use, right? Right. So let's take a look to this tech route, the tower and route control. Not many pilot familiar with this. Chinta, when you get your flight lesson instrument,
Right?
uh, are you guys there in Oregon, right? Are
Right.
you guys there using the tech route much or
No, actually, no. We don't necessarily use tech route.
okay?
In fact, I think it's only here in California, at least in my experience, that I start being exposed to tech route usage for pilots.
The Southern California, you mean, right?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, Oregon is the north of California, of course. Yeah.
right.
So yeah, the tech route. Not many people knows that. You can find this in the chart supplement, the paid for 85 tower and route control for Southern California. So the main difference when you apply this route, you can just directly call the clearance delivery. Let's say Van Nuys clearance delivery, November 664 Whiskey Yankee. Uh, we're gonna file IFR clearance tech route to Montgomery Field 9,000. Okay, you don't have to file the flight plan through the flightplan.com or to anything. So you just call the clearance delivery. If you are saying that you're using the tower and route, they already have like a package here. So from Burbank area, which is that Burbank, Van Nuys, or Whiteman, to this is the Mike Yankee Foxtrot. Okay, you have Mike Yankee Foxtrot, November Romeo Sierra, San Diego, SEE. This is the San Diego area. Since your airplane is the piston engine, so you have to see here for the altitude piston engine 9,000. This is the package, and the route will be Burp 29. That's your route ID. Victor 186 Hale intersection, Victor 66, and Mike Zulu Bravo, Mission Bay. This will be your package, and by knowing that package, you will put this here. So let's remove this. All right. So Victor 186 Hale, Victor 66, and Mission Bay. And this is your route. It's about 142 miles. Let's put the ground speed of the Duchess will be 145 knots, altitude 9,000. Your estimate time and route will be 56 minutes. We will put that like 1 hour. Okay, so this is your route. Wow, the weather now is a little bit clear up. It's getting blue. Blue means marginal VFR. And this magenta, this is what I'm really looking for. If we can fly to this very, very low visibility, this is low IFR. And Chinta will explain about you what is the main difference between the VFR, marginal VFR, IFR weather, and also the low IFR. Okay, that's for started. Now the red is the IFR, which is the ceiling will be less than 1,000, and then the visibility is uh, okay, marginal VFR, right? 1335. So if you see the visibility within 3 to 5 statute miles, that's marginal VFR. Any visibility less than 3 statute mile, that will be IFR. Then the ceiling less than 1,000, that will be IFR. Okay. Now, this is SEE. It's still magenta. It means this is a low IFR. So what's the ceiling now, Chinta?
The
Sun
ceiling now
is
broken 400.
broken 400. The wind is no wind at all. Visibility is 4 statute mile. Basically, the visibility is clear. I mean, it's on the marginal. Okay, it's not really bad. It's above 3 statute mile, but it missed. BR, it mean miss. Our destination now is getting blue. Why blue? Even though uh, the ceiling now is 1,000 for our destination, but our visibility is more than 5 miles. It means when the visibility is VFR and your ceiling is IFR, is in the middle. Okay, so the FAA put this as the marginal VFR. So that's your consideration. But around you, if you can see, the Miramar is still IFR, and then the Santi is low IFR. The Tijuana Airport International is IFR. Imperial Beach is marginal. So based on this data, you can most likely predict where will be the cloud, where will be the ceiling. Uh, it's likely it's gonna it's getting clear, but it's moving to the southeast, right? The weather system is moved to the southeast. Being said that, it means you will fly to San Diego and landing there with the marginal. You may have like several clouds there. I mean, the overcast basically is still 1,000. You will land by inside the cloud. So in this scenario, number one is if your examiner, if you go over the IFR check, right, he will ask you what kind of flight that you will fly. This is marginal VFR. Uh, will you fly VFR? Because legally you can fly without instrument rating over there because the airport now is marginal.
Sure.
So what do you think, Chinta? Can
Well,
Mhm.
yeah. Well, in this case, it is true that as long as you maintain your legal separation with the cloud or like VFR weather minimums, it is true that you can still fly VFR legally, but do you want to? The thing is that if you see how the trend is, even though now you see that Montgomery itself is already marginal VFR, you see that airports around it are still in lesser VFR favorable weather. So what you can see here is that you can take the weather information with a grain of salt and thinking that in this scenario, I would say that the weather around is still a little bit better than IFR, but only in this airport that things start to break up because we see that right now it's around 8 a.m. and it's been a little bit over 2 hours of sunset. So the sun um,
Sunrise, you mean?
yeah, correct. The sunrise.
Hmm.
So the sun is already heating the marine layers or like the fog, and the fog starts to break up. So this is when the fog starts to break up. Even though pilot starts to see that it's categorized as marginal VFR, I would still think that it is most probably way safer if you just fly it in an IFR way. Because in this
Yeah,
case,
of course, exactly.
yeah, because in this case, um, you would not be flying around dodging the clouds because when you dodge the cloud, when you're dodging clouds, you should know by now that it will just add some more workload. You will get easier to get disoriented. So why take the like? Why don't you just fly IFR? Because once you fly IFR, you have the ATC that's holding your hand, and you already have a preset route on where you're going to go. The en route, and then also when you're going to the approach, feeder route, and then going to the approach, going closer to the airport, everything is already predetermined. There's no need for you to be like dodging the cloud and reorientation yourself every time you get away from a cloud. So
Yeah, it's like a Scott running, and the
yeah,
worst case scenario for people who got accidents in the aviation is because of the adverse weather. So they're flying into the unknown icing, or they're flying to the adverse weather. So they think that the weather is clear up now, is to be getting VMC, but suddenly they just get trapped into the clouds, and they just come inside the clouds without declaring any emergency, and then they get a spatial disorientation, they spin the airplane, and they crash. Okay, that's happened a lot in the Part 91 flight, guys. So we will not take any risk in these circumstances. You can always check the TAF, okay, the forecast, but as the scenario is given to you that this is very urgent scenario, you have to deliver the medicine and the vaccine because your uncle is now in the hospital. So that will be now. It means now. So we make a flight plan. We have to go now, and we have to talk about it. So there's no other way to delay your departure. If you are under Part 91 just for a leisure flight or a flight training, you can always delay your departure unless you fly with the flight instructor and your mission will be under instrument training. This will be a great moment to get your actual instrument flight inside the cloud. But other than that, you have to delay it, and let's see what happened in the next or 2 hours. I believe the weather will clear up. Okay. Now, let's take a look about the first weather chart that we want to review is the surface and weather analysis. So, Chinta, can you brief our audience about this?
right, sure. So the surface weather analysis. So in this, what you see right now, the you see USA is being divided into some lines, and then you start seeing the blue and the red lines, and then also the purple ones. I'm going to talk about that. Yes,
And
the
we are here, right? This
right,
is we are here. This is California, and let's put our location with the blue area. I think this will be our part.
right.
Okay.
Yes. So the lines that you see is an isogonic line, meaning that
The
that
isobar.
isobar, yeah,
Yeah, this is the isobar. Yeah.
the isobar is connecting all the areas that have the same um, barometric pressure. So for this one, you see that the area that we are going to fly, it is it's kind of small for me, like 1016.
1016 to 1022, and then the isobar distance is pretty wide. It means the wind is calm. So that's the first
Right,
information. You're not going to have uh, like a wind shear or any bad strong gusty wind. We really hate when the North San Ana wind comes to Van Nuys. It's really bumpy, clear air turbulence everywhere. But by looking this isobar, we don't have that this time, right? It's a stable weather. That's why the fog and the cloud is sitting there, because it's stable.
right. And for you who are still really need some more polishing on the weather, just the easy way to think about it is that think about it as steps, as if you're seeing like stairs. So when you see two lines being close to each other, think about two steps that are like close to each other. Obviously, it will be steeper. So when it's steeper, the wind that always want to move from higher pressure to lower pressure, since it's steep, it will want to go faster.
Yep.
So imagine it like that. If it's not close to each other, like the case that we have right now, imagine that the step is like farther away from each other. So when you have, like, let's say when you roll like a ball, I guess, it will not go as fast. It will like take its time to go down. When it's like closer, then it will go with the steepness that it has. The wind will fall. The wind will flow faster. So that kind of imagination for me when I did my training, it really helps on memorizing about the weather theory.
Yep. And basically, you just pretty uh, the simplest way to see, the wider this isobar, the lowest the lower wind speed. Okay. And
Right.
now, in the surface analysis chart, you want to see where will be the low pressure area, because we hate the low pressure area. We have the stationary front here. Where's that? Yeah, we have stationary front, and the cold front is here. There's nothing to do with us, so no front at all here.
Right.
So the weather will not be moving um, in the next 2 3 days. This is a trough, okay? The trough of the low pressure, the boundary of the low pressure is already moving to the eastern part of North America. So the Southern California now is there will be no air mass moving. So we can say that the weather will be stable. The weather will stay there for a while. If you have a clouds that will be staying there, will not moving around. And the only way to clear up the weather now is the sun radiation, right?
Right.
So no front, and it's likely we're moving to like the high pressure area system is here. 1016, because 1013 will be the standard atmosphere. So if you see this line, it means in our area the pressure is pretty high. So the weather will be moving from California go to the right side. This could be to Colorado, to Arizona, and so on. Okay. So that's the first summary of the weather. Now let's see the precipitation chart. We don't have precipitation here.
Yeah, we don't see anything.
Yeah, it's only like small tick here and here, but it's so minor, so you don't have any rain. It's good for you because when the weather is pretty cold, like 7 degrees, you got rain, um, you got moisture, the condensation, you got a clouds. What you should expect? What do you think, Chinta? What they should expect on that is icing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And now we're looking to the prognostic chart here. What happened here? So you see the blue area, you got a ceiling 1,000 to 3,000, visibility 3 to 5. It means that we have marginal VFR around here, and the red mark is IFR. So it's pretty clear that the marine layers over here and the north of California, you have icing. This is the freezing level above mean sea level. Okay, so if you fly to the north side, inside the clouds, because you have the ceiling here, is most likely you're flying to unknown into an unknown icing over here. But you don't see any icing path, the freezing level here. So basically it's fine. It's just what do you call this? The marine layer will stay there or even move to the east side.
Right. And if I can add, if you see the number next to the freezing level, that is the number at that is the altitude at which you,
Altitude.
yes, that is the freezing altitude. So
That's
for
12,000
right.
feet. This is 8,000 and 4,000. So if I fly to Lake Tahoe at this time, I'm gonna fly like 12,000, 13,000. I'm gonna postpone my flight. Why? Because I can fly inside the clouds. It doesn't matter at all. As long as there's no cumulonimbus cloud, no thunderstorm, it's fine. But if I have to fly here, okay, and you got an icing path over here, that is our biggest enemy as instrument pilot. You cannot see outside. You're flying inside the cloud. Now you got like clear ice, rime ice, mixed ice that will kill you. Okay, I got one experience go to the Lake Tahoe airport and we have induction icing and suddenly engine rough and almost die. I think I lose one engine, right? Then we try to restart with carb heat on. Then finally I realized that we got induction icing. So this consideration is really important. I don't care what airplane you fly, but this is the basic thing you have to consider. So when do we have to take a look to the TAF? Do you have any idea, Chinta, when they should take a look to the TAF and why the TAF matter for us?
Well, first of all, since we are talking about a flight in California coastal area, and we are right now dealing with marine fog, um, it is really important for pilots to look at TAF because, like Mr. Guma said, since we don't have any front, the weather change will not be abrupt. And so it will stay pretty steady. That's why when you're looking at TAF, you can pretty much see the trend. maybe if you are actually flying for today, it is still possible for you to monitor the tap like starting from 2 days or 3 days ago, and you can start seeing the trend at which around what time frame is the cloud is going to break out, like the cloud is going to break, and then at what time frame the marine layer starts rolling in, and then from there you can first of all think whether you want to do this flight VFR or IFR, and then after that you can also see whether you would need um, alternate to plan an alternate or not if you choose to fly.
Exactly. Yeah, the point is the alternate.
Right.
Okay, so when you fly the instrument, the best way to decide when you want to put the alternate is remember the 1, 2, 3 rules. In the Part 91, a little bit different with the Part 135 or 121. Okay, the Part 91 is 1 hour before and after your arrival, okay, your ETA. Then the ceiling and the visibility is really matter. So you have to have at least 2,000 feet ceiling and the visibility is more than 3 mile. So, and the other hand, if the airport has no instrument approach procedures, then you have definitely to file an alternate. That's for your flight planning. So let's take a look. The MEDAR in Montgomery Field, now you have 8 mile visibility and the overcast 1,000. So what do you think? Do we have to file alternate here?
We do. We
Okay.
file an alternate,
Yeah, because the visibility is good, but
but
the
the ceiling.
ceiling is less than 2,000, so you have to file the alternate. Chinta, can you share to them what is our method to file alternate? A lot of airports around here, we don't really got a trouble to file alternate, but which airport that is better for them to file the alternate?
So when you file an alternate, the reason why we want to file an alternate, or we are like legally required to file an alternate, because our destination airport does not meet the requirement, right? So we're talking about weather. So in California, we have so many airports like pretty close to each other. But since again we're talking about marine layer or even any kind of weather, when you see that your destination does not have a favorable weather, you don't really want to go to an airport that is just 5 nautical miles away or
Mhm.
just 10 nautical miles away, because not much will change in that case. So don't be shy. Actually, take a look around a little bit further, around like 20 nautical miles, 25 nautical miles. Look at also at your the fuel that you have, that the fuel that you can take in your aircraft, and actually calculate. I bet you can actually go 20 or 30 nautical miles out.
Yeah,
Going that,
as you
oh,
can see, if you fly just around here, the weather will pretty same. So number one is try to find the airport that is in VFR. So there
right.
will be no surprise at all, guys. You have to plan your flight really careful. So in this case, you can see the Ramona is about 20 miles from here. You got Ramona as VFR. The weather is 10 mile, no wind, and clear. I think clear ceiling, right? The sky clear, right? Okay, yeah. Sky is clear. Temperature is about 8.9. So that's cool. The performance of your airplane will be great. And what else? Yeah. Okay, yeah. I think Ramona is the best alternate for you. Are you agree on that?
Yeah, true. It's not too far. So let's say with the mission that we have, it's it's still possible for you to like get a car and then actually go to your uncle's hospital to deliver the vaccine. And also it has a favorable weather.
Yep. So regarding alternate, you have to consider your fuel. So you have to at least got enough fuel for the destination for your alternate and
45 minutes.
45 minutes cruise power. That's your minimum fuel requirement for instrument. I
Right.
normally put this 45 minutes as 1 hour. So as you know that the alternate is only like 25 miles, so I'm gonna put this like a 1 hour fuel because we don't carry much passenger and baggage. So we have plenty room. My weight is 185 pounds. And how about you?
125.
Okay, 125. So let's put this like 1 hour
300.
and this 1 hour. So you got 3 hours fuel. And the Duchess will give you 10, around 9 gallon, 9 to 10. Let's put 10, okay? 10 GPH if you fly about 75% or 65% brake horsepower above, you will get a 10 gallons per hour, okay? And now I want to do this weight and balance. So everything is in order. It's based on your needs. So my weight is 185, Cinta 125. I'm gonna put the fuel like let's make it everything like a full tank. Always doing that if you don't bring any passengers, much passengers, and you're not intentionally bring like a lot of baggage. Okay, I always fly with the maximum fuel. It's 100 gallons usable fuel, so times 6 that will be 600. Right, and what is the baggage? So you bring a bag. I bring my GoPro, my iPad, my charger, whatever. So it's about maybe 125 maximum pounds. Then we calculate. So 3,616, and the maximum will be 3,900. So the CG is pretty good, and the maximum takeoff weight we are way below is like around almost 10%. But you have to know in the Duchess, you have to check your airplane that's the single engine positive rate based on the weight. So it's about 3,400 something. So it means that if you want to maintain single engine climb rate, the gradient, the single engine gradient, which is 1.5% on the Part 23, the twin engine. So the Duchess shows that you cannot fly with more than 3,400 for the 1,000 airport elevation. Okay, with the temperatures about standard temperature. So you may want to check your POH to make sure that even though, okay, let's put this. Just take any POH. Okay, even though you are below your takeoff weight, but you have to make sure that you can still get the positive gradient. I'll show you where. This is in the Duchess. All right, this is performance. I really love performance. So you never find this in the single engine airplane. Some twin also doesn't have this. Okay, take off, climb gradient, climb one engine operative. Right, I'm gonna find this. Make sure you can climb in one engine. Okay, there you go. Take off, climb gradient, one engine operative. No, where's install takeoff weight? Here. There you go. So the takeoff weight to achieve positive single engine rate of climb at lift off. So it's not on the cruise level, but during departure. Okay, you can see that even the maximum here is only 3,500 plus. Can you see that, Chinta?
I guess we can zoom it in a little bit.
Yeah, here. So see this. Takeoff weight to achieve positive single engine rate of climb at lift off. It's pretty weird. You see the maximum? This airplane maximum takeoff weight is 3,900. But to achieve single engine rate of climb at lift off is 3,000. How much is this? 3,520. That's the maximum. And that will be sea level and also the minus 10 degrees.
Mm.
So now our weight will be like 3,600. So what happened? Uh, what's the temperature now? S- Uh,
Eight.
let's 8. Okay.
Or eight.
So 10, 0, 8 is here. So even though you're at 8 and Venice is 800, so you should not fly more than 3,400 pounds to achieve this positive single engine rate of climb at liftoff. Okay. So now we should consider whether or not you're going to load the airplane more than 3,400 or you will maintain flying that airplane, and after you're airborne you go to the safe altitude as soon as possible using the VX. This is another dilemma. Okay, so not many airplane has this, but if you can see, airborne takeoff at 2,700 RPM, flaps up, landing gear is down, in operative propeller feather. So in the position of down and feather, this is a condition. But this doesn't mean that you cannot take off with the 3,600. No, this is for your consideration. But something happened, you may not be able to climb at the positive rate of climb, which is in the part 23. You don't have to fulfill this requirement. But if you're flying under part 25, then you have to, okay, to comply with this regulation. All right. So that's a little bit about the weight and balance. So we're gonna take off with 3,616 pounds. The center of gravity is pretty good. It's a little bit moving to backward. So we're good to go with this, right? So any other consideration? The weather is good. When we go there, we need an alternate. So Ramona will be our alternate. What you need to see, what is Ramona Airport? I never ever been there. How about you, Chinta?
No, me
Okay.
neither.
So if you never visit any airport, you have to open the chart supplement. You want to see what is the runway layout. Okay. Okay, and my little tips, you go for Google Earth. I always do this. I flew the airplane from Malaysia to Australia, so I always want to make sure I know the geographic map for my destination. For what? If you have emergency inside the clouds, oil pressure down, oil leak, okay, the only way to make your life safe is if you know the location, the area of. Wait a minute. Yeah, let's wait. My internet is not so good tonight. You never know the terrain here. So I want to take a look to Google Map, and also I want to read more about Ramona Airport. So in this scenario, you have to know what is your traffic pattern altitude, just in case you have to land visual. That's 1394, 95, isn't it? Right?
Well, I'm still reading myself.
And this is your elevation. So
Yeah,
you
well,
got 0927. So your TPA will be 2395, make it 2400. For the multi-engine, it's a 1500. Do not forget about that. The twin engine is a little bit higher. There's a 5,000 here. So you have to read it, right? So you want to know whether or not you got a 100 LL. Oh, it has a Jet A. It has Puppy. And what is the airport time? That's really important. I will show you why. The Class D, 1600 to 0400, other times Class G. It means when the Class G You have to make sure you can call the airport manager when they change to Class G. Do we have an ATIS? What do you think?
No.
No, right? So what's the UTC now?
Um,
-7 is about 1400.
yeah.
Right? Now is no. Now is 16. So the
Now,
tower just opened,
yeah. I think, yeah.
correct? So if we discuss this like an hour ago, remember this. If we talk about this an hour ago, can we file Ramona as our alternate? That's a matter. Because the tower just opened 1600 to 0400. Other than that, that will be Class Golf. So what happened? If the airport changed to Class Golf, doesn't mean you cannot fly over here. Doesn't mean you are forbidden to fly. But you want to know, since you put this as your alternate, you want to check. Sorry. Yep, the alternate minimums. If you see this A, the alternate minimums, you will see that Ramona, the approaches over there is RNAV. We don't do RNAV. Okay, let's assume we don't have GPS, the WAS. Um, the only approach that we can use here is VOR DME.
Oh,
Yep, and not applicable when local weather not available. The question is when the tower is closed and the class become Golf, can we gather weather information in Ramona? What do you think, Chinta?
mm, I don't think so.
Yeah, because you get a weather report like Class E, but when you lose your weather report, like ETIS, AWOS, ESOS, they cannot provide you, then it's become Golf, right? It means you can say, if you want to make sure, I don't know, just call the airport manager and ask, or call the FSS, 1-800-WX brief. They will tell you about that. But based on my experience this time, we can say that if we talk about this like an hour before, then you cannot file your IFR flat plan to Ramona. If you have other opinion, please comment below, guys. Okay, we are here to discuss, and hopefully our discussion gonna help you. So in this case, your category A, the weather will be the 1,400 and 2 mile ceiling. Category C is 1,400 and
And for VODME Alpha, we're using Note
yeah, the
3.
3. Yeah. It's category A and B is 1,200 and 2 miles. That's the weather. So let's say in Ramona, the ceiling, let's say it's better, make it 1,100, and our destination is about 900 ceiling. Can you file this Ramona as our alternate? The answer is no, because the minimum will be 1,200. The feasibility minimum is 2 miles. So now that will really make sense. Why do you have to check the TAF, check the alternate minimums? Otherwise, you cannot file this as your alternate. So we can file this as our alternate, isn't it?
Yes, this is VFR.
Okay, and the other thing is you want to check about the TFR, temporary flight restriction. And here you got VIP and LAX, and this is Anaheim, Disneyland. You don't have any TFR. You may want to check from for flight. Do not fly into TFR if you are already like cancel IFR. Then you fly on your own. Never, never, ever fly into TFR. You got a lot of troubles because of that. Okay. Okay, Chinta, that's all for and Rod. Now you can explain a little bit about how we exit from Van Nuys. You have Adam 3 departure.
Okay. Can you zoom it in for me, please?
Okay.
All right, great.
Oops.
So we have Adam 3 departure. First things first, after you see, like, after you pick which departure procedure you want to use, This one is an SID because it is depicted graphically, and it is made the so that it reduces the workload for pilots and also for ATC, because once they know, you guys know that you're going to use Adam 3 departure, they know what kind of route are you going to go, which radial are you going to intercept, and so on and so forth. Now, how do you pick Adam 3 departure? Venice itself have several departure procedure. Now, you want to pick the one that takes you to the relative direction of where you want to go. There are other SID that takes you towards north. And since we're going towards south, or like southeast in this case, Adam 3 departure is the one that fits our needs the best. Now, once you know that we're going to use Adam 3 departure, always, always, always look at the side of your SID plate. You want to make sure that you have the one that is still current. So for us, it is from 25th of March until 22nd of April.
April, yeah.
So it is still well current. You want to make sure that you get from the right airport, from your departure airport. It's Venice, so it's right, Venice, California. Look at all the information. We have ATIS, clearance delivery, ground control, and so-called departure control. So you have all that so that you can plug it in into your avionics before you go, or write it down so that you have a written backup. And then check out the takeoff minimums. Based on the weather, they will tell you which runway is in use and then which runway you have to depart from. And from that, you see the takeoff minimums, whether it is whether your aircraft can comply with the performance that is needed or not. So for takeoff, yeah, you want to add something?
No, go ahead.
So for the takeoff minimums, I'm not going to read everything, but let's say we're taking off runway 16 left. It says standard with minimum climb of 380 feet per nautical mile to 2,600.
So that's lower. That's a little bit lower, but the runway is shorter. So if you can fly with the 16 left and you need a little bit shallower climb rate, climb gradient, you can take 16 left. Okay, but if you are okay with the 450 per nautical mile, this is not the VSI, guys. Okay, so how I calculate that? Let's say you're climbing the VYSE is 85 and the Duchess in okay, the ground speed is about, yeah, it's basically same. Okay, 85. So with times with the ground speed 85 and divide by 60, you have to maintain 637 feet. So make it 650 feet per minute to 2,600. So you may think that, oh, that's easy. I don't have any problem. Yeah, but how if when you climb and you got a single engine, then that will be a problem for you. So in hot weather, it's better for you to fly like 16 left with this minimum climb rate, 380. So let's see what happens if 380 times 85 divided by 60. That's about 550. It's about 100 feet different. Then you may want to check here. That's why we're really concerned about the performance. The accelerate. Climb to engine. Who cares about climb to engine? Takeoff climb gradient, one engine. That's a climb gradient. Climb one engine operative. So let's take a look here. Boom. If you can see here, if you think that is easy, so let's take a look. All right. So our weight will be 3,500. What is this? 8? 3, 5? Huh. 600. So this is 3,600. Temperature 8, isn't it?
Yes.
And it's about here. Okay. All right. So where's temperature? So it's this sea level. Go to the temp. Go right here. Let's change the color. Go here. Okay, let me know if I'm wrong, Cinta. Has been a while, guys. All right. So how much you got here?
300. 300.
Am I right?
Pretty small for me. Around 320.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, am I right? The way I calculate this, hopefully I'm not wrong. Okay, this is 8. Straight line here. Okay, reference line. This is 3. I think this is 3.6.
That's 3,600.
Yes, okay, correct. Yeah. This is the higher sea level, that's why it's lower. Okay, guys, you are seeing that your single engine climb rate is only 300 feet per minute. Providing you fly under, let's see, feather prop, flaps up, gear up, cold flaps open, make sure full reach, and the VYSC, the 85, if you reach the 85, you're gonna fly about 300 feet per minute. So now, let's back to the requirement. They require you to fly at least for 538 feet per minute, or in the 1-6 ride, okay, that's require you to fly 650. So the question is, if the weather is not really bad in Venice and you got emergency like single engine, what are you gonna do, Cinta? You're taking off and then you got one engine failure, you cannot comply to that takeoff minimums. What will your plan?
Well, you can always go back to your airport.
Yep, IFR or VFR.
If you were saying that the weather is not that bad, that I can look outside. Is that what you said, that the weather is not?
Yeah, let's say it's marginal. It's not that bad. I mean, you can fly visually in the traffic pattern.
Yeah, I would just go back on the traffic pattern altitude and come back.
Yeah, I just cancel IFR. When I start Dutchess 664 Whiskey Yankee, we have an engine problem. We declaring emergency, cancel IFR. We fly back to Van Nuys, left traffic, runway 16 right, and coming back, right?
Right.
Because you cannot comply with this anyway. You're not going to fly. But the problem is, if you're under clouds and you're taking off from Van Nuys and you're inside the clouds, you have to maintain this situation. If you cannot comply with this takeoff minimums, you have to inform the ATC. Then they may cancel your SID and factoring you around. Does that make sense? What do you think? Are you agree with me?
Yes, that sounds a lot more safer than pushing your aircraft to still go on SID with one engine.
Exactly, because anyway, SID is still SID, guys. You have to follow this. Now you know your airplane performance to have because you want to comply with the takeoff minimums IFR. If you can comply this, you will advise the ATC. They will give you another solution. Because you are under emergency, they give you priority. They will factoring you about the altitude. They will give you a minimum factor altitude if you're flying around the obstacles, the terrain. Because in here you see the note radar required. So how you fly this? Fly 163, 2.2 miles, left turn 113. And what's the very important notes here that can we radar required cross DME 1.5 south at or below 1,750. And after this, we have to following the radar factor, right?
Yeah, for radar vector to Van Nuys radio 095.
Yeah. And then this is your transition. You go to Elmo, to Adam. Now we can connect that to here. So this is Elmo. And where's Adam? So Adam is here. So let me put a note. There you go. This is Adam. This is Elmo. So you go here, factoring all the way down to San Diego. We're not going to talk about the en route procedures. since this is a consideration. But let's talk a little bit about the approach. Okay, Chinta, you can share about the approach. So this will be your approach.
Okay, zoom it in for me, please.
Yes, yes. Right?
Right. Okay. So same thing as before. You always first thing first. You want to make sure that you see the date on the site so that you know that it's you're not holding an expired place. And for us, it's still the expiration date is still the 22nd of April 2021. So we're good. And then we're doing ILS localizer runway. Can you scroll it down?
28 right.
28 right, Montgomery Gibbs Executive Airport. You have that right. And then we have the localizer and DME frequency 111.95. And then the approach course is 218. Runway landing 3,399. Touchdown zone elevation and airport elevation. You can read it by yourself.
Yep.
And right below it is the note. So DME or radar required.
Yeah, DME or radar required. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And then runway 28 right helicopter visibility reduction doesn't apply for us. And all of the other information next to the info, you will have the written direction of the misapproach procedure. And then right now, what we are seeing is the plan view of the approach itself. And
yeah,
here,
the question is why the radar required? Why does impact to our flight?
why does that impact to our flight?
Yeah, because we don't have transition route here, right? So let's say your flight plan now is to Mission Bay, the VOR. That MZB is here.
Right.
So how you can go to your initial approach fix? There's no initial approach fix here. It's only here. The Bakel. The Bakel is initial approach fix, but you're not going to Bakel from this side. You're going to Bakel from the northeast side, right?
Yeah.
So you're coming from here.
And then you want to go to...
you need to come here, right?
Right.
There's no way for us to navigate there, even though you got this arrow to heading 076, but this is not the feeder route. That's only the cross radial to identify Bakel intersection. The transition is only here, so that's why radar required. It means if you want to commence the approach on the LS, you need a radar factor
to get you to Bakel.
Yep. So what happened if your transponder fail?
Well, if your transponder fail, before it happens, you can actually tell them that you are having a transponder failure, and then they will get ready for you to take you to Bakel.
Yeah, but if your transponder fail, there's no way for them to
know where you are
for factoring you, right?
Right.
So let's say you got a problem in the transponder, you got burned transponder, you have to notify them, hey, I lose the mode S transponder, then you have to find another airport that's really boomer for you, especially when you got a all IFR. So maybe from this you have to go directly to Ramona. If the airport now has become visual, so you can always find the other approach. So let's take a look. Is there any other approach here? ILS, localizer, no. RNAV, no. You don't have any approach here. So since they put the radar required, if you lose your transponder, that's a no-no for you to come. What do you think, Chinta?
Yeah, if it is possible for you to go to that airport on VFR, then that
exactly.
might be the way that you want to take right now. But if not, then you have to choose some other place.
Yeah,
Some other
you exactly. You cannot fly here, right?
right.
All right. So there you go. You will get a radar factor coming here and land. So we are not going to discuss about how to fly ILS, but at least that's a consideration for flying in this scenario. So it takes us like an hour for discussing about this. Meanwhile, we have to check whether or not the airplane now is airworthy and our pilot proficiency and everything, right?
Yeah, that is before you fly.
Exactly. Yeah. You have to know this is Class B airspace around the San Diego. We advise you to go for the word VFR as well, just in case you need to switch that to VFR. You know the corridor. You have to get a clearance, but if you're flying IFR, so they already clear you into the Montgomery field. So this is the airport. You have to remember how to read this. Okay, so this is a surface to 3,200. This is Miramar. This is the MWF. This is Class D, 4,800 to 10,000. That's the Bravo
Yeah, and then the Class D is from surface until
to
2000.
2,899. Or, oh, no. It's a
2009.
2,900. Yep, sorry. I don't see the minus. So you got Class A code around 2,900 to 4799, right? So if you're coming here like 5 miles around the Montgomery field, you're at Delta and Echo as long as you're below 4,800. But
Right.
you still need to have a transponder because if we got transponder here fail, you're around the Class Bravo. What do you need to do?
You have to inform that because when you're getting closer to Class Bravo, outside of Class Bravo, you see the magenta line. That's the mode C 30 nautical miles.
Fail exactly. Yeah.
So
If
you
you if you're unable to comply with the mode C, you need to call them. If they denies you to enter this mode C fail, then you have to come back to Van Nuys or land to other airport to Carlsbad. Sounds good?
yep. If um if the transponder failure happened before you get there, you have a window of 1 hour before to let them know.
Yep.
If it happens right then and there when you are already inside, then there's no way you can let them know an hour prior. So you just have to
So
talk to them.
tell me again. Tell me again about that.
If it happens right then and there, I mean, there's no way you can let them know prior. So the way to go is what Mr. Guma said. You have to talk to them, and if they let you stay operating under the Delta, under the Bravo area, then you can continue your operation. But if not, you can let them know for an hour prior.
You have to call them like by phone. Let's take a look whether or not they will accept you coming, right? So this is the Class Bravo. Within Class Bravo airspace area unless the aircraft equipped with for IFR operation, operable VOR, okay, for all operation, two-way capable radio communication, and applicable operating transponder with the automatic reporting equipment, which is that Mode C, and ADSB after January 1, 2020. So it's definitely you will need that transponder. If you are unable to that, just call the SoCal. Yeah, you call SoCal and ask them, hey, I'm coming and we got a problem in transponder. We really need this flight. Uh, we will repair this transponder to our home base. So let's say your home base in yeah, in MYF, and then you're on the way back. You lose your transponder, then you may call them. Hey, I'm gonna fix my transponder over there. So let's see whether or not they will accept you in. is pretty simple like that. As long as you communicate and you talk with them, they will find a great solution for you. FAA there to help you. So I think that's all. And the next will be a flight from Van Nuys to Montgomery Field by the flight simulator. Hopefully you enjoy. And please comment below if you have any feedback. Share to your friends. Really happy to share with you. If you want to take instrument rating with us, just very simple. Go to our website, 14daypilot.com. We have accelerated 10 days program for the instrument. Okay, just give us call here. You can click here, talk with our CFI. Me or Chinta will talk with you and talk about how to bring you as instrument rating pilot. All right. Okay, so feel free to come into our website and talk with us. We have 10 days FAA instrument rating. Make you instrument rated pilot in 10 days. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chinta.
Yes, thank you. Have a great night.
Okay, great. Have a good morning from United States and night for Asia. Yeah, here is 11:30 here. Okay, so see you guys in the next episode. Share to your friend.